Hi, welcome to episode 8 of the Sweet Sparrow Knits podcast. My name is Julie. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, and Periscope as Julie Rose Sews, and you can find my hand-dyed yarns at sweetsparrowyarns.etsy.com. I hope you have had a wonderful week. It's such a pleasure to be back and talking with you again today. So I want to start off with a giant thank you. Guys, my podcast has more than 500 subscribers. That's insane. That's insane. I would be thrilled if 50 people enjoyed my podcast. I would be thrilled if 5 people enjoyed my podcast. But 500 is a number that's really, it's a biggie. So I wanted to show you guys how much I appreciate that you come and spend time with me every week. So I will be hosting a 500 subscriber giveaway. And you can enter this giveaway by going to the Ravelry group. There will be a giveaway thread in there. And because I'm always looking for things to listen to or watch while I'm knitting, the entry is going to be a question of what you like to listen to or watch while you're knitting. And the prize for this giveaway will be a skein of Sweet Sparrow Yarns. It will be in the Robin's Egg colorway, which is a very pretty light blue with brown speckles like a robin's egg. And this is on my magpie base. I'm not sure how well the sparkle will show up on screen, but it has gold stellina in it. So, best of luck. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, Coco. Coco's investigating. Hi. Let's start with works in progress because I have no finished objects this week. None at all. So my first work in progress, I mentioned last week. This is the Knit Picks Felici yarn in the Sprinkles colorway. If you hear some thumping, Coco's jumping around over here. Right, little guy? Bucky just got scared by the IKEA delivery man and went under the couch, and now Coco is trying to convince him that it's safe to come out. Okay, so I had mentioned last week that I was going to cast on some blueberry waffle socks in this yarn, but my mom was visiting me last weekend and she saw my Hermione's Everyday socks that I was knitting out of my dyed-in-the-wool sock blank. And she really loved the stitch pattern, so I'm making her, instead of blueberry waffles, Hermione's Everyday socks. So I'm thinking of these as my Hermione's Sweet Tooth socks because the colorway Sprinkles plus this cute little ice cream stitch marker made me think of the summer before, what was it? Was it the third year? Harry's third year at Hogwarts, where he stays in Diagon Alley and he goes to Florian Fortescue's for ice cream all the time. And there's a scene where Hermione has a giant ice cream cone. So I'm calling these Hermione's Sweet Tooth. I am loving knitting with this yarn. Knit Picks Felici is a dream to knit with. It's so soft. I really absolutely love it. Yeah, super happy with this. This little ice cream progress keeper. Oh, it's so cute. Is from Andisa Charms, I think. I think that's her name. I'll check it out. I'll put it in the here. So I follow Andisa Charms on Instagram because I love little stuff. I really like miniatures. I had a dollhouse as a child that I was very into, and I still enjoy like just crafting small things. So I follow a lot of Instagram accounts that have the same idea. And the owner of Andisa Charms and I actually share a birthday. So when she posted about her birthday sale, I decided that I was going to get a couple cute little progress keepers. That was the last of my birthday shopping binge. But I will show you the rest of them in acquisitions because there are numerous ones. This is one that I actually did not order, but the wonderful owner of the Etsy shop, Andisa Charms, really kindly added this to my package. Thank you. That's my first work in progress. My calligraphy cardigan is also a work in progress, but I'm still just knitting away on that first sleeve. I haven't worked on it a lot this week, so I'm not going to bother showing that to you. It looks basically the same as it did last week. It just has maybe another 1.5 inches of sleeve on it. Hopefully next week I will have a little more progress to show you on that. And my last work in progress is a new one. I did talk about it last week. This is the Scrappy Pinwheel Blanket, or the Pinwheel Scrap Blanket, by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. You guys, I'm obsessed. I cannot stop knitting this. It's all I want to knit. That's why I haven't gotten a lot of work done on anything else. This is the only thing I want to knit. So I am just in love with this pattern. This is my first block of 8. I haven't woven in the ends yet. But I absolutely adore this pattern, and I absolutely love putting together the color combinations for it. So this was my first block, and it has mini skeins that I've received in swaps. I think this is actually all minis I've received in swaps. Oh no, there's 2 that aren't. This is a bit of leftover from my Hermione's Everyday socks that I knit from the sock blank. And this is leftover from a hat that I knit. And then I think everything else I got in mini skein swaps. And I'm now working on my second block. I actually just finished my 3rd triangle of my second block right before I started recording. So this block has this robin's egg blue, which is leftover from my Color Affection shawl. This, which is from a mini skein swap. That's so pretty. I love all the purples in there. And it also has this beautiful little hint of navy blue, which I think is so pretty. And this is kind of a celadon green color. And next in this, well, okay, this is really sappy, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. I am kind of thinking of this block as the block that represents me and my boyfriend. I know, I'm such a cheese ball, but so there's going to be some yarns in this block that are important to me or symbolize something that I want to do in my life with Rob. So this one, this robin's egg blue one, represents the cozy nest that I want to build with him someday. This one doesn't really represent anything. I just thought it was really pretty in there. The celadon green color is, to me, like when I think of Rob, I think of this color. It's both very energetic and very serene, and that's how I think of him. Next will be my Dickon colorway, and this is leftover from the socks that I knit for Rob. Of all of my colorways that I've named after characters, I think Rob would definitely be the closest to Dickon. Oh, I just dropped it. Okay. He's an incredibly sweet and caring person. He's at home in the outdoors, and I feel at ease with him in a way that Mary felt at ease with Dickon in The Secret Garden. So I'm definitely reminded of Rob by my Dickon colorway. So that will be in here next. My Miss Honey colorway, because of all of the characters that I've named yarns after, I think I am the most like Miss Honey. I just want a cozy little life in a little cottage with flowers around it. That's what I really want out of life. and that's what Miss Honey had. I'm going to be putting some of my first drop spindle hand spun into this square because I think it represents wanting to create something together. It's a little lumpy bumpy. It's not perfect, but it still holds together, and I think that's an important component of a relationship, is that even when things are not perfectly smooth, you still hold together. And this yarn is one I received in a mini skein swap. This one doesn't represent too much of anything to me, but I really liked the way that this very calm blue is interrupted by bursts of bright yellow and bright green and bright red, because Rob and I are both people who would prefer to have a very nice quiet life, but Rob also he's a little bit more adventurous than I am in terms of jumping out of planes or going hiking for weeks at a time. So I like to think of the spots of color in this yarn as sort of his adventurous side. And this one I also received in a mini skein swap. This is Invictus Yarns. I can't remember the colorway name, unfortunately, but it's beautiful. It's a sort of sugar plum lavender color with stellina in it. It's so pretty. And this I'm putting in because to me this is like a fairy tale princess color, and that's how Rob makes me feel. So I don't know. Maybe, was that too sappy? Maybe I'll cut all that out. Well, if you're seeing it, I guess I didn't cut it out. So yeah, this is my special me and Rob square. Anyway, enough of that sappy stuff. So speaking of which, if you would like to swap mini skeins with me, I am always willing to do that. So just send me a direct message on Instagram or send me a private message on Ravelry, and I will be super happy to swap mini skeins with you. Each triangle on my pinwheel scrap blanket, hereafter known as the Scrumptious Memories quilt, each triangle takes a little bit under 4 grams, but 4 just to be on the safe side. So if you want to swap with me, just let me know, and let me know how many grams you need for whatever your scrappy project is. Alright, so reading is next. I haven't been able to do a ton of knitting this week, even though I was homesick from work for 2 days because I punctured my eardrum. That's random. Yeah, I woke up on Wednesday morning and with just a horrible pain in my left ear, and I went to the doctor on my way into work, and he said, "You've punctured it, go home." So I did that, and I couldn't really knit because I was just so, it really hurt. I could not even focus enough to knit. I mostly just slept. And then by the next day, my ear was still very painful, but I had also developed this like balance situation. I got out of bed and I fell on the floor. Could not stay upright. So I was not able to really like focus my eyes and knit either. But I did manage to listen to some audiobooks. So I started with The Yarn Whisperer by Clara Parks. It's a really fantastic book. I'm sure a lot of you have already read this, but Clara talks about kind of her life and how it relates to yarn and knitting, and she uses stitches as a metaphor for various stages of her life. So that was absolutely wonderful. It's a very warm book. It's very personal. And she said something that really stuck with me. Live with your grain and not against it. And I thought that was a really fantastic concept because I think in this day and age, there's a very sort of small view of what's considered being successful, and if that isn't what you kind of see as your own personal happiness, I think it can be hard to not tell yourself like, oh, you're wrong, you should want what everybody else wants. So I really like the idea of living with your grain, and I am striving to do that. And the next book that I started listening to was Knitlandia, also by Clara Parks. This is a little bit more of a travel memoir. It's good. It's not, in my opinion, not quite as good as The Yarn Whisperer, but I really prefer more personal stories, and Knitlandia is more, like I said, like a travel memoir. It's a different intent with the book, but it's still really, really good, and Clara reads both of these books herself, which I love. I love when the author is also the narrator of an audiobook, so definitely check those out. They're wonderful. And then by Thursday night, I was able to actually read, so that was good. And since I had been laying on my couch for basically 2 days, you know how when you don't feel well and you can't really focus, your brain like picks one thing to kind of fixate on? For me, that was decluttering. I was just looking around my living room and I was like, oh, there's so much stuff in here, which there really wasn't. Like, there wasn't that much stuff that I took out of my living room in particular. My closets, on the other hand, yeah, lots of stuff came out of those. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. So the book that I read on my Kindle was New Order, A Decluttering Handbook for Creative Folks and Everyone Else by Faye Wolf. Guys, get this book. It is so inspiring. I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo when that first came out. It wasn't something that really worked for my lifestyle because as a creative person, I have a lot of supplies. I do a lot of different crafts. I do a lot of sewing. Well, I don't do that much sewing, but I did a lot of sewing and I would like to get back into doing a lot of sewing. Obviously, knitting requires a lot of tools and a lot of yarn. So much yarn. So the idea of kind of going through your stuff and really, really paring it down wasn't all that feasible for me, just because I have a lot of hobbies, and they all require stuff. But and the other thing is, it's not realistic for me to say, oh, I'm never gonna leave a project out. I'm never going to get distracted and leave a mess and then come back to it later. And I think the book by Faye Wolf really does a great job of acknowledging those kinds of things. So when I was feeling better, I sprang into action after reading this book. I'm not even done with this book. I'm only about halfway through, but it's already made such a huge difference. Yesterday I spent the morning dyeing yarn, and more about that later. And I spent the afternoon and evening just going through my apartment and getting rid of a huge amount of stuff. Between clothes that I donated, books that I donated, paper recycling, and just trash, I got rid of like between 8 and 10 tall kitchen bags of stuff, which, considering that I live in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself, that's a lot of stuff. It was extremely liberating. I woke up this morning feeling great, because I feel like I know a lot more of what I have and where it is. Even the smallest things, like I am constantly running late trying to get out the door because I can't find my keys. It's the silliest thing, but it drives me bonkers. And that was actually one of the specific examples that Faye Wolf uses in her book is how much your life can be improved just by little stuff like not having to look for your keys every time you want to leave the house. So one of the first places that I tackled was a little shelf in my entryway that had started off as a place to put keys, but eventually, you know, keys got put there, junk mail got put there, hats, mittens, that all ended up there. So I really enjoyed cleaning that off. I now have a little bowl on there for my keys, and that is where my keys go when I come in. So I'm really, really happy with the progress that I've made in decluttering my apartment. I got rid of tons of stuff from my closets too. Not just clothes, but also like tote bags of random sewing supplies that I've been dragging around with me since college because I never took the time to really go through them and figure out what I needed and didn't need. And the vast majority of it I did not need. It was like scraps of muslin or pattern pieces that I'm never going to use again because my taste has changed, and just realistically, it's not likely that I would recreate an exact thing that I made in college. I would much rather draft a new pattern and fit it a little bit more to my current aesthetic. I organized under my kitchen sink, which has been kind of a little, it's been where stuff goes when there's nowhere for stuff to go. My mom and I actually will say to each other, like if she asks me where something is, I'll say, "Where do you think? Under the sink." Do 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 do. You know, like under the sea. Because that was just like, if you couldn't find it, that's where it was. So I took everything out from under there. Also discovered that I had a leak, so good thing I took everything out because that gave me a chance to find that leak and call my super, and he is fixing that. But yeah, I took everything out, sorted everything, so that I now have like one box of cleaning supplies, one box of vases and mason jars for flowers, and one box of candles. A lot of candles. I have plenty of candles. Next time that I'm tempted to buy candles when I go into Anthropologie, I am going to remember that box. I might take a picture of it actually and keep it on my phone. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Gotta curb it. So if you also find that you love the idea of living a more minimalistic lifestyle, but the reality of it has been tough, definitely check out this book. I will link to it in the show notes. I'm not affiliated with Amazon in any way. It's just the easiest place to link a book. So that's where my book link will lead to. On a related note, today Rob and I went to IKEA. I love IKEA. I love going to IKEA. Woo, it's so fun. We both needed bookshelves, so I picked out a bookshelf. It actually was delivered moments before I started recording this. I was just waiting for it to get here so I could start recording. I am going to assemble it as soon as I have this video uploading. And I will show you guys what I put on this bookshelf next week. I'm actually hoping to give you guys a little apartment tour soon, because I love seeing other people's spaces, and especially, you know, creative people, and you know, I'm really nosy. I like to see where other people live. So I thought you guys might enjoy that and kind of getting a closer look at where I keep my yarn and kind of my whole system. It's not a system. My situation, maybe that's better. So let's move into acquisitions. So I'm actually going to transition into what I bought from IKEA that was not a bookshelf. And these are things that will go on my bookshelf. I hope it's not too loud. I got 2 baskets. This is the Victigt. This thing is that. So I thought these would look really adorable on my new bookshelf with yarn in them. I bought two. I think I'm going to put my Knit Picks Stroll in one and my Knit Picks Felici in the other. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. So I'm really thrilled with these. Oh, they're so cute. It looks just like a little picnic basket. I love it. It's a good size, but it's not overwhelmingly big. Okay, so my other acquisition were these wonderful charms from Andisa Charms, and you can find her here, andisacharms.com. And she sent me these beautiful, beautiful Progress Keepers. So I purchased, and I'm just going to leave them on the little card, I purchased blueberry waffles with syrup, a tiny gingerbread house. I love this, it's so cute. There. I don't know how well you can see that. There we go, that's better. Oh, it's so cute, I just love it. Look at the tiny candies on the roof. Ugh, I need a manicure. Who am I kidding? I don't get manicures. I need to do something with my own nails. Look at the tiny candies on the roof. So cute. And I purchased this adorable little chocolate mug cake charm, which I love. I think that is so adorable. And I love chocolate mug cake. That's my pick-me-up. If I had a really bad day, I make a chocolate mug cake in my microwave. And then the last one is this Swedish princess cake, which I've never actually made or tried, but I really want to make it. I found a really wonderful looking recipe for it online, which I will also link to. But look how cute that is. Oh, I just love it. Definitely go check out her shop. She is very talented and very, very sweet. And lastly, I have shop update stuff. So my next shop update will be Thursday, July 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I actually recorded the segment where I show you what will be in the shop update earlier today because I wanted to make sure the lighting was good. I wasn't sure what time Rob and I would get back from IKEA. So I'm going to turn it over to Julie from the past. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. It's been so nice to talk to you, and I would love to hear from you, so feel free to get in touch with me. Bye! Hi again! You know how I said that I would be going back to the past to show you my yarn that will be in my shop update this week? That's not what ended up happening. I looked at the footage and the color was not accurate at all. And the light actually seems to be giving me a lot more accurate color right now. When I recorded that earlier today, it was pretty early in the morning, so I was getting a lot of very pretty soft filtered light, which creates a beautiful photo, but is not accurate for displaying color. So I'm going to show you right now. So first up, I will have my colorway Daffy Down Dilly, and I will have 2 skeins available on my Nuthatch base. And I'm introducing something new to the shop this week, hatchlings. These are 20-gram mini skeins, and they are perfect for heels and toes. They're great for color work. If you do a lot of mini skein swaps and you want to have sort of larger minis that you can break up, then you can, use one for yourself and then break the other 15 grams or however much into a couple minis for swapping. They're really fun. So these are in my nuthatch base, and there will be 4 hatchlings of Daffy Down Dilly in my shop update. Next up is Peach Fizz. This is one of my favorites, I have to say. I really like this colorway. So there will be 2 skeins of Peach Fizz on Nuthatch, as well as 2 Peach Fizz hatchlings. So cute. Next up is Butterbeer. So there will be 1 skein of Butterbeer on my House Run Tweed base. There will be 2 skeins on my Magpie base. I'm really happy with how this colorway looks with the gold stellina. I think that came out so pretty. I'm gonna knit something for myself out of this closer to autumn, I think. Maybe a beret. I feel like that would be a good beret color. There will be 2 skeins on my Hummingbird base, which, because of the silk content, this does take the dye a little bit more lightly and a little bit more muted than some of my other bases, but it's very pretty. It's just a little bit more gentle of a color. And there will be 2 skeins on my Nuthatch base. And there will be 3 hatchlings of Butterbeer. I will have 1 skein of Kissed by Fire on House Wren. I will have 3 skeins of Shy Violets on Magpie. I really like how this one looks with the stellina too. I think it's so delicate and pretty. Moving on to Robin's Egg. I will have 2 skeins of Robin's Egg on my Hummingbird base. Again, this takes the color a little bit more lightly, so very pretty and very delicate. I will have 1 skein of Robin's Egg on Magpie, so if you don't want to wait and see if you win the giveaway, or you have a project that you want to start right away, there will be a skein of this available in the shop. There will be 2 skeins of Robin's Egg on House Wren. There will be 1 skein on Nuthatch. This is one that I need to dye myself up a skein of this. I haven't knit anything out of this yet, and I really want to. Maybe in my next dyeing day I will dye up a couple extras for me. Because what I need is more yarn. Have I mentioned that? Need more yarn. Don't we all? And there will be 2 hatchlings of Robin's Egg. This is Arya, one of my Game of Thrones colorways. And there will be 2 skeins on my House Wren base, as well as 3 hatchlings. Lastly, we have Garden Rose. There will be 2 skeins on my Nuthatch base. There will be 2 skeins on my Magpie base. And there will be 3 hatchlings of Garden Rose. Thank you guys so much for your support. I can't even tell you how much it means to me that I get to do something that I absolutely love and put it out there into the world and share it with all of you. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week.